Welcome to Carpe Dime, a podcast about personal finance and everyday life. I'm Jamie Davidson.
And I'm Nicole Jackson from Financial Center First Credit Union. Thanks for spending your free time listening to us talk about how life and family affect us achieving our financial goals.
Hey, Nicole.
What?
Do you remember when you moved out on your own for the final time? Not the first time when you went away to college or this or that, but that final time where you went and got your permanent place, where you weren't going back home ever again.
You talking like maybe really on my own, or like there was still an assisting adult available?
You're moving on as an adult.
Oh,
adult life.
Okay,
Remember
I got that one. Uh-huh.
Well, that's what we're going to talk about today. How adulting can be fun, and the first step usually is moving out of the house, right?
Yeah, I guess so. And
my daughter, because I talk about my kids all the time. My oldest just recently moved out, and I tell you, we had many things that weren't discussed. Now that she was moving out in the world of adulting, so we had to talk about these things. And I was amazed by the things she didn't know. And I'm her dad, so you'd think she would know these things, right?
She should know everything.
So do any items come to your mind when you moved out that you probably needed to have discussed and you had to learn the hard way?
Well, I think baking is a basic thing that I had to figure out, and utilities, because I had no idea. I'm an only child too, so I didn't have anybody to set that standard up for me.
Banking, budgeting,
budgeting, utilities,
all that fun stuff.
Yeah, finding time to work and actually sleep, I guess.
They didn't make an Adulting for Dummies book back then, did they?
What do you say? I should have read Adulting for Dummies.
Maybe there's one out there. We should get that for every kid that leaves the house.
Oh, okay. I thought you were saying it. I didn't know.
No,
I was
not for you.
Thanks, Jamie. Whatever. Rude.
No, for me. I could probably still use it, yeah.
Okay.
So, did you come up with some facts this week?
Always.
All right. Any good ones?
A couple.
Okay.
So, according to a Pew Research Center study, in 2020, 46% of American renters spent 30% or more of their income on housing.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Renters across the United States have actually seen an average rent rise at 18% over the last 5 years, outspacing inflation.
Outpacing inflation. Oh boy, we keep talking about inflation, don't we?
Yes.
Eventually,
it's not going to go away anytime soon.
It's not. It doesn't seem to be. Wow. Anything else you learned?
Yeah. So according to the Motley Fool.
The Motley Fools.
Motley Fools.
Not the crew. Don't get them mixed up with the Motley Crew.
The monthly transportation cost average is $819, which is probably going to be your second largest budget item.
Yep.
And then groceries come in at about $412.
Yeah, I love watching my daughter come over to the house to visit, and her boyfriend gets in the cupboard. Next thing you know, I'm like, "What are you doing? I'm eating something. Don't you have that at home?" "Well, I don't have this at home." "Oh, well, maybe you should buy some of that."
He's just making himself comfortable, Jamie.
Oh, yes, he is.
Your house is his house.
So
you should just return the favor and go over to his, check his cupboards.
So we're really going to cover about five main topics today about, becoming an adult. The things, whether you went to college or not, even if you just get out of high school, there's really nobody out here teaching these things. You sort of we've all learned by default. And I think it can be a little scary. Overwhelming, confusing, and can cost you a lot of money if you don't know what you're doing. And
yes.
That's what we like to talk about, is the money. So let's start with getting your own place. It's time to move out. You've been out of school. Get the hell out of my house. You gotta go.
I didn't go through that.
Nobody ever kicked you out?
No.
Well, that's because that was.
Can you imagine wanting to get rid of me?
Dustin, if you're listening, buddy, got my fist in the air for you, brother. Support you, man. So the first thing we're going to start with when we're talking about getting your own place is, I'm going to say what it needs to be in the budget, right?
Right.
And what does that look like? This is the time for real discussion on what is affordable and what is not affordable. When you get out, I think about my daughter. She lived with us throughout college. She was in a dorm for 1 year, so that was part of her cost. She didn't have to pay that monthly. And now all of a sudden she's leaving home and they've got this rent, and they don't know what rent should be, and they came to me and said, "Well, we're going to move here, and here's the rent." I went, "Well, what?" It's almost like, close to my mortgage. So, obviously you got to get to that point where it's affordable. What else? Anything else you as a mom would worry about?
Guessing from me, obviously, when I say safety, I've kept my kids in, car seats until they were old enough to argue about it.
Aren't they still in it?
Barely out. It's fine. No big deal.
Damon's 6 foot, 150 pounds, and he's putting him in a car seat.
Hey, you know what? You're safe. Race car drivers, right? They wear them too. So
okay.
Might drive a little fast, but no, safety really is important, because that's also going to affect the cost of your rent.
Right.
I mean,
you can find a place that's really cheap.
Oh,
The question
yeah.
is, where's it going to be, right?
Places I wouldn't want to live.
Right. Well, so that's really the first step of setting that budget and what that looks like. You know, as we look back up here, they said 30% of that goes towards housing,
Right.
their income. So I guess we'll use that as the baseline. Let's not go over 30%. Try to get it lower than that.
And if you need to, I mean, you can always look into ways to kind of downgrade that too by looking into roommates.
Yeah. Well, yeah. Actually, that's kind of a good one there because that's what I want to talk about. You know, are you going to get the place by yourself? You know, are you going to get a roommate? You got to look at the pros and cons of both, right? What's the pro? What's the pro of having it by yourself?
You don't have a roommate.
Yeah, you don't have a roommate, right?
Yeah.
All of us have had a roommate. We know what that's like. It turns out pretty good at first, and sometimes, you know, it can turn a little bad. And one of my best friends was my roommate. I still love you, Mike. You're still out there. But gosh, I think by the end of our 12-month lease, we didn't want. I don't think we talked to each other for 3 months after that.
You learn a lot about people when you actually live with them.
You do, right?
It could be awesome. Like, oh yeah, great. I'm gonna be a roommate with my best friend, and then.
So the pro is if you're by yourself, you get to live by yourself. That's kind of cool. The con is you gotta pay for everything on your own. No splitting the bills, and that can be expensive. So you've got to be really budget conscious in what you're doing. And obviously, if you have a roommate, the pro is
you have a roommate and you get to share everything.
Well, that might be a con too. What's important is you're sharing, you know, those expenses. Now, what's really important though is if you are going to get a roommate, make sure you get one that you set something up so it's paid directly. You're not, you know, the whole, hey, can I get your half of the rent? I've seen that happen in the past where two people get together. Oh yeah, we'll live together, and the one doesn't pay them on time, or they're like, and it becomes an issue. Like the person that's not paying is like, why are you bothering me?
Right.
Make sure you're going to live with somebody that's going to pay their share and pay it on time. So
might make sure they have a job too.
yeah, that's a good idea. But you're my best friend. We can live together. No, job is very important, right? Yeah, so as you're doing this, so you're getting out on your own, you get your own place. What goes hand in hand with that is what you said was looking at your utilities. You know, all of a sudden, when you were at home, you didn't worry about keeping the lights on or turning the air conditioning down real low or the heat up real high because you didn't pay the bill.
Right.
And you wondered why your dad was running around all the time like, turn out the lights. Don't touch the
my
thermostat.
Dad was always bumping the thermostat down. He wanted me to freeze to death. Like, come on. He's like, oh, you can put on some more clothes. Middle of winter. Doesn't matter. It's 60 degrees in the house. You can warm up. It's fine. Grab a blanket. Put on some socks. No.
Well, your dad and I are a little bit opposite. I'm the guy that comes down, who turned the air conditioner down?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it was winter and he was bumping it down. I wasn't allowed to be warm.
No, you could put on another sweatshirt.
That's what he was saying.
And a blanket. Put on some slippers. Put on some. I'd go buy my kids the underwear, the long johns. Put your long johns on like you're going out into the winter.
Yeah.
So yeah, utilities. So electric. First is okay. Is it electric? What's the average cost going to be, right? Yeah. Because if you get a roommate that doesn't turn off lights and likes to turn the heat up and the air down, that's going to cost you a lot. Mm-hmm. Another one is you've got water. Who pays the water? Is the water paid by?
Could be part of your lease.
Could be part of your lease, or you have to pay yourself.
Pay it yourself and cut down on those really long hot showers.
Yep.
Which affects your gas.
Maybe
right. Your electric.
Do you have gas bill? You might not. And then I think about today. I never really put this into utilities, but it sort of needs to be there. Your internet service.
Yeah.
So as I was preparing this, I was thinking about my daughter and her boyfriend, and it was really funny because we were talking and we go, well, you gotta get your electric turned on, and he's like, well, electric's with Duke, and I'm like, yeah, and my daughter goes, yeah. He goes, well, yeah, the electric's with Duke. She's like, you gotta call them.
Right.
You've got to have them turn it on and put it in your name. He's like, what?
Well, a lot of times there's deposits too, right?
And then there's the deposit. If you don't have credit, if you don't have a credit card, or you've never had a utility before, they're going to charge you a fee sometimes. Mm-hmm. There's also connect fees depending on your credit and your history. So you've got to look at those things. But it was so funny because he didn't realize that he had the internet down. Oh, we're going to go with this person, But
I remember that because when I moved out on my own and was actually starting to put utilities in my name, I had no idea that there were the down payments or that it had anything to do with your credit at all. I was like, well, you just tell them you want electric or you want, water.
Can you turn my electric on?
Yeah, like, I'll pay you when you give me the bill, but you don't realize those things.
Yep. So that's one of those things of becoming an adult. Wow, I've got to call and have them hook up my electric. I've got to put the water bill in my name. I've got to put the gas bill. Yeah, he had his internet ready to go. It's kind of funny. That was the thing. Gotta have our internet, but I'm like, well, you're not gonna have any electricity for your internet.
Well, there's that.
So, yep. So utilities is a big part of getting that first place. Another one is you don't think about it. You do. You might not. Is you gotta eat.
Oh yeah.
Right. You got to get those groceries. You got to get those household items, the ones you've never gotten before. Magically when you're that early 20-something, you go in the bathroom and it's cleaned by somebody else. You don't know who that person is. Well, that person's your mom or your dad usually. You go in to do your laundry and there's laundry soap there magically, right? Oh gosh, after you use the restroom, there's toilet paper and there's soap for your hands. Oh my God, where does that come from? So when you get that first place, you've got to buy all those things, and not only that, you want to eat.
Right.
So, what do you think happens with those grocery bills after the first couple months?
Hopefully, they go down after the first couple months. You start living off ramen and some eggs, maybe every once in a while.
You're buying the Folgers coffee.
Wait, you buy Folgers? I get like Great Value brand.
Do you?
Oh yeah. I am not that desperate.
No. Yeah. So all of a sudden you got your groceries. You got to really sort of plan. What are you going to do, right? You don't really want to make food and waste it anymore because you had to pay for it.
Eat those leftovers instead of letting them turn black in the fridge.
And I can tell you, most likely, now what'll happen is if you don't change, you're gonna live paycheck to paycheck, and you're gonna be pretty broke before you know it, and you're gonna be living on credit cards, which, believe it or not, half of our country does. And that's why we're talking about these things, so you don't do this. So you're gonna have to change some of those luxury items. What that means is, like I said, you're gonna have to. If you want milk, drink regular milk, not oat milk. You may not be buying all organic anymore. It's funny because my 20-year-old's, why don't you buy organic? I'm like, because organic costs $3 more per item. Duh. So you're gonna have to get those things and change those. Anything that you can think of when you got out on your own that you probably changed, or what will the boys probably like? They take for granted it's there.
My boys, I would say it would be like the name brand stuff, but honestly, my kids don't know a difference yet. I think it's coming. I mean, especially with like clothing and stuff like that. Like they're noticing that there's brands, but.
I've gotten the dirty look when when we were having trouble finding toilet paper, coming home with not the good toilet paper, getting the single ply, and I was getting like, why did you buy that toilet
paper? Right. Honestly, like baby wipes are kind of like a hot commodity in my house. Like we don't have any babies, but you gotta have like baby wipes on hand, and I think that might be some place that they start to like give a little bit because they'll realize, oh, baby wipes actually have a cost too. Like none of this stuff is free, and it's gonna add up. So.
My house, juice boxes are, like. They're a commodity where they're always there.
Right.
Nobody knows how they get there, and they drink as many as they want. I'm thinking back to when I was a kid. We had Kool-Aid, and you can't have any more Kool-Aid. We're almost out of Kool-Aid, and all that was Kool-Aid and water. Right. No, gotta have the juice boxes. And I walk around the house, pick up the straw wrapper.
Yeah, find them all over the place.
Yeah, I don't know. There's something about those. You take them off and you just throw them on the ground. Nobody knows where they go. All right, so we've talked about getting your own place and what goes with that. The second one, which we sort of had up there in our facts, was transportation cost. Transportation costs. Now we're in Indiana, and everybody in Indiana likes to drive their own car. We're not big on we're not big on public transportation. We do have it, and I know some people do use it, but a lot of people, it's all about their having that car. So when it comes to car, what are the things you think about when it comes to expenses?
So I really only think about gas. I know that I should think about like servicing it and like changing the oil and like tune-ups and stuff, but that is those are things I've heard people talk about, but I don't really do them. Growing up, it's kind of like you said, like my dad always took care of my car, and now my husband takes care of my car. So I still don't
my daughter
really think about that.
My daughter's in flux right now, so I'm okay. So I'm thinking, the automobile fuel, obviously, fuel's gone up a lot, so that's one of those things you've got to think about what you're doing. Are you going to take this drive around as often? How far are you going to go from, when you do your job?
Drive to work.
Drive to work. Like you drove down to Indianapolis today from Muncie. And I'm going to drive up to Muncie. That's a lot of miles. That's a lot of money for gas.
Yep.
Is the car paid off, or do you have a loan, or is it mom and dad's car and they're paid it off?
That's true. And insurance. I guess I'm getting ahead of it.
Nope, that's okay. But insurance on the car, yeah. And like you said, maintenance. I kept saying to my daughter, she moved out probably about 6 weeks ago. And she needed to get her oil changed before she left. It was already behind. Did you get your oil changed yet?
Don't
instead of me doing it, Dad didn't do it, but Dad finally got her to do it. The good news is her boyfriend kept saying, "Nope, she didn't. She needs it though. Nope." So he didn't go take her. Yeah, boyfriends. He's a stickler. So the options are: hey, do you have a car? Well, as we said up here, transportation costs is $819 on average. That's the second largest budget item. So the next question is public transportation available? And if so, are you going to use that? When I've been in big cities, I've used public transportation, love it. Just I live in the suburbs, so public transportation is not really readily available. So how
I've
about
always been weird about public transportation. It creeps me out. I don't know. I mean, it's a good thing, I guess, to save money, but I guess there's costs along with that too, though, right?
Yeah.
Like bus passes and stuff. So.
Yeah. If you're
Uber. Could you Uber?
You could Uber. That's I don't know if that's probably going to be the best thing to do for a budget, but yeah, you could. And obviously, you've got the Uber, the automobile of your own. You got your public transportation. We've got the two that are a little bit cheaper. One is you
Walking.
can walk. You can walk to places. And I think about us. In all honesty, we live close enough to the grocery store. If we wanted to, we could walk. Of course, we're lazy and we get in the car and drive the quarter mile down the street. My daughter did move to a place where she can walk to the grocery store. She can walk to other stores if she needs to.
Was that part of her decision to do, or did she just kind of luck into it after she realized where she was moving?
I think it was an added bonus. Now, as far as taking advantage of it and doing it, I don't know if she'll do that. I mean, because she can walk to restaurants, she can walk to the grocery store. So yeah, and last but not least, I put this out there for our CEO, Cam Minguez, and one of my best friends, Will Locker. They like to bike, and my buddy Will lived 40 miles away. And he was like, "I'll ride my bike over." I'm like, "What?"
That's crazy.
I want to ride my bike to the grocery store. You're gonna ride 40? How you gonna get here? Oh, I'll figure it out. So there's the bikes, right? So
well, bikes do have maintenance though too, so they're not completely free. Like I figured this out actually this summer because my mom took my bike and like my growing up bike to give to my son and got it all like maintenance and things like that. I didn't realize how much it costs to actually like upkeep on a bike.
Yep, it is expensive. Yep, and you better be handy, know how to change a flat tire on a bike.
And chains.
Yep. So that's our transportation costs. They're going to cost. You need to know what that is. If you can walk or ride your bike, that's the way to go. But the car is going to be the most expensive, which takes us to another one that most of us don't think about in our early 20s. Insurance. Yeah, insurance. Like I said, adulting isn't fun. It's time to be an adult. So insurance, when you think of insurance, we just talked about automobiles, right? The number one.
Yep.
The most of us that have automobiles in the state of Indiana, if you have a car, you're supposed to have auto insurance. That's the law. I don't know if everybody follows that, but you do. I think about my daughter. Her auto insurance is still paid by me. So in all honesty, this is a conversation we're going to have about when we're going to transfer that over to her. Now, if it was up to me, it'd be about 6 months from now. But this is a discussion you have to have, not with your child, or if you're the child with your parent, if they're the one covering it,
right? But
also the spouse, because you have two different thoughts there. Another one is, if you're renting a house or an apartment, what do you need to have?
I mean, you're gonna tell me I need to have renter's insurance if I rent, but I never had it. Like
never had it.
Never
Did
had it.
Anything ever happen?
Yes, actually, yes. Now that I'm saying that, we had an electric surge and it completely fried my laptop when I was in college.
And it didn't cover it.
It did not.
There was nothing to cover.
There was no coverage to cover it.
So that cost you a little money, didn't it? You had to get a new laptop.
It wasn't good.
And you do own your home. And you have homeowners insurance.
I do have homeowners insurance. Right? Yes.
Yeah. Why?
Well, if you own pets, sometimes they like to start fires.
Oh.
They're almost as bad as kids.
That's start fires. So yeah, you found out the hard way. We've had a few friends that have, they have the homeowners insurance, and luckily they have the right amount because the house caught on fire. So it's the same way with your renting. A lot of the companies nowadays are requiring renters insurance. Not all, but most are. And that was another conversation I had with them before they moved out. I'm like, you got to get renters insurance? They said, yeah, we have to. And Andrew said, yeah, the company has a company they deal with and lined up. And I'm like, well, you need to check with your insurance company and get a quote. And he's like, I'll just use theirs. And I go, well, theirs might be $25, $30 a month, where you could get it for $15 a month. So it's one of those things where you go, it's only an extra $10 or $15, but it's an extra $10 or $15 that could be in your savings account.
Right.
So shop around for that. The other one, they're getting to that point when in their life they're still young enough they can be on ours. But the other big one is health insurance. When do you turn the reins over on their health insurance?
It's like 26 when they have to get off.
26 now. That's the law. And the conversation that takes place is, okay, I'm going to carry on my health insurance. But you're an adult now, so if something happens to you and you have to go to the hospital or doctor, who should pick up the tab on that still? And the answer is, that's a good question, right? It's a good question. Not only that, the other thing is, okay, yeah, you can be on our family insurance, but a family insurance is higher than just a single insurance. So should I charge you the difference on the premium? I mean, these are questions. I'm not telling you should or you have to, but you do have to have this discussion.
Right.
Not only that, they need to be aware of these things, because eventually they are going to have to pay for their own health insurance. And can you imagine the sticker shock?
Yeah, it's going to hit them.
It's going to hit them pretty hard, right?
Yeah.
And if they have medicines they have to get every month, right? So got to have that conversation. And the last one that we want to talk about when it came to insurance, which is the one a lot of people don't like to talk about or don't think about, but it's life insurance. Mm-hmm. So you have 2 children.
Yep.
Do they have life insurance policies?
They do, which is it's an icky feeling. Like, you don't like to think about doing it, but they do. It's not something that you want to think about needing for yourself or anybody else. Mm-hmm. But yeah, my kids have it.
Funeral costs are expensive. Very expensive.
Yeah.
So when you're a young person, you're going out on your own. If your parents haven't already gotten you a life insurance policy, get yourself a life insurance policy for about $25,000. It's not going to cost a lot of money. If one of the next things we're going to talk about is career, and that's going to be part of the conversation there. But you need to have something just in case.
Right.
So ask your parents, hey, do I have a life insurance policy? And if they look at you like you're crazy and say no, why would you ask me that? Then you need to get one on your own.
I thought you were going to say something about your parents.
And if your parents do have one, like I have for my 3 children, the question becomes, it's my daughter's life insurance policy, but I pay for it. So the question becomes, do I continue to pay for it, which is not a lot of money, or do I hand it over to her and have her pick? Once again, if I took all the things that I pay for my daughter and started shifting them over to her, she would be overwhelmed.
Yeah.
Because you don't realize it. I didn't realize it. Health insurance costs. What are you talking about? Life insurance, monthly costs? What? Oh,
right.
What? It was one thing to go, I've got to pay rent, and I know I've got to have electric, and I've got to have groceries.
Oh, I mean, we didn't even mention cell phones.
Cell phones? No. I mean, that's another one of those. Where's cell phones going to go? Up there on your utilities?
I mean, it kind of goes hand in hand with maybe your internet, I guess.
Yeah. And I think our plan for that is the next cycle of a new phone, a new upgrade. She's got to go on her own.
See, I think I got lucky there because I didn't have my own. I don't think I had to start paying for my own cell phone until I was almost 30, maybe 28. But I don't know.
So, number 4, let's talk about, okay, so we've got insurance, we've got transportation, we've got our, food. Let's talk about, I'm an adult. I need a job. I need a career. What am I going to do, right?
I'll get a job to pay for all those things.
Yeah. I mean, so, if you're moving out, hopefully you got that job.
Right.
I know some people that move out and they don't have that part taken care of yet. Maybe it's like they finally got kicked out of the house. I don't know. So, the question becomes, do you have a career? Are you going to have a job? Is it going to be salaried? Or is it going to be hourly, right?
Right.
If it is going to be hourly, is it going to be enough hours to support your budget of what you're wanting to do? Is it full or is it part-time? What do you think, Nicole?
I mean, what do I think? I think that, having a job beats not having a job.
Yeah, it kind of helps.
It's kind of like your starting off point. But I think what I'm kind of getting at is, yeah, they can get out, they can have this. I mean, honestly, starting off, you're probably just going to have a job, not a career, honestly. I mean, unless you get lucky and have an awesome placement straight out of college or high school or, wherever. But a lot of times you're going to start off hourly, you're going to start off at a job, and it's probably going to be the high end of part-time, if not full-time, and you're going to realize that the money is not quite what you want, and you're going to start looking for other things. But the thing to remember is not to just quit and go find something else. You got to kind of
plan ahead. So, I mean, that takes me to the next point. There is, if you're not making the money to pay the bills, you might have to get a second job. Multiple jobs. I know that's a foreign idea. Nowadays, what's really cool, though, is so many young people do second jobs where it's sort of like their side hustle that they create. So it's sort of their passion, which I think is really cool. When I was doing multiple jobs, it wasn't a passion. It was, I wanted the money. I needed the money. Right. So think about that. And the other thing, if you are getting out on your own, you do have that career, and you're talking about the salary, you're talking about all those different options, all those different benefits. This is where a lot of this comes together. Benefits. Is there health insurance? Mm-hmm. Is there optical insurance? Is there medical insurance? Same thing. Dental insurance.
Right.
Vision? Vision, yeah. How do you get? How much time do you get off?
Right.
Are there sick days? Is there PTO? So those questions are going to come up, and you need to have that conversation. Not only that, does it have a retirement account, a 401k? So these are the questions. It's funny because you get out there and you get offered the job. You're like, yeah, I got a job. And they're going to pay me X amount of dollars. But you can get 2 jobs that are paying you almost the same. And if you don't pay attention to the benefits,
right,
job B could be better than job A. And you need to really look at that and have that conversation. And if you don't know somebody to go talk to, find somebody. There's people out there who are willing to mentor you or help out. Just find that right person. There's hopefully somebody in your family that you can always go to and get that advice from. So, which takes us to our last one, which is our favorite one.
It's our favorite.
It's our favorite one. We always talk about it. Debt. The idea of debt and paying it down, getting rid of it, right?
Right.
Because most of us, when we go out on our own, have a little bit of debt or might have a lot of debt. And the goal is to sort of pay that debt down and not accumulate more debt, right?
Right.
So, what did you do? Did you have debt when you got out of when you moved out on your own?
I did. Oh, I mean, I only had education. I was kind of lucky. My parents set me up really good from the beginning. It's like they got me that beginner credit card, and it was kind of like a build your credit kind of thing. Okay. But it was paid off monthly, so I didn't have the credit card debt, which I know is kind of unheard of anymore. But I did have education loans, so I was working on trying to figure out the best way to get that paid off. And I was not wise in the beginning and was only making on monthly payments and couldn't figure out why that
it wasn't going down.
Bottom line wasn't moving. And I was just like, what is going on? So it took me a couple years, which is really sad to say, but it did take a couple years to figure out that paying more was necessary.
And with education loans especially, you get out and you've got this 6 months where you've not been paying on them the whole time you've been at college. Mm-hmm. And you've moved out in your own apartment, and the next thing you know, it's 2 months later, it's been 6 months, and boom, you get the bill.
Right.
So it's really important when you're moving out, you're going through this debt, what you have, and having a plan for that, because most of us have some sort of debt when we do go out on our own, and having a plan for that. That's something here at the Credit Union at Financial Center we'd love to help with, help budget, help you pay down that debt in a way that's it actually is good for you financially, for your financial life. And it's okay to have some debt, but it's also good to pay down that debt.
Yep.
So we came up with 5 things that we were talking about today, about being an adult, you're moving out, getting that apartment, creating that budget. You got to have your utilities, got to pay your groceries, your transportation costs, your insurance.
Internet.
Yeah, the internet, got to have the internet. So as we were going through this, we came up with some pitfalls to avoid. So we came up with 5. So why don't you talk about the first one, Nicole?
Well, the first one is try to figure out the best way not to overpay for rent. I mean, it's kind of like the shop around thing for your insurance. You shop around to figure out not only where you're going to live and location-wise, but the cost to live there. And make sure that just because, it's in a good area doesn't mean you necessarily have to pay 3 times the same amount that you'd pay across the street.
Yeah, be willing to. What's funny is because you go out, it's the same with people when they buy their first house. You get really excited. And, gosh, excitement, oh, God, I can't wait. Well, a lot of times when we make an emotional purchase, a lot of times it's not the best one for us when it comes down to money. So make sure you're sitting down and comparing. I would definitely recommend, if you're going to rent, you get 2 or 3 places to compare and contrast the cost. Once again, how far are they from work? All the different pros and cons. Number 2 pitfall we came up with is not shopping around for insurance. Meaning, if you pay for your auto insurance, shop around. If you're going to get renter's insurance, which you should, shop around. If you do get life insurance, make sure you're shopping around to get the best price. Make sure you do that. Don't just take the first one. Don't call mom and dad's insurance and they tell you it's this much and just say okay. Get a comparison, a quote on that, because a lot of times people overpay because they don't do the comparison.
Right, and I mean you should compare even after that first time you get it too, like when your renewal comes up, just to kind of make sure that you're still in the right place.
Yeah. Well, you and I have discussed this in the past. We try to every year look at our insurance and see if we can find ways to save money on it because it continues to go up.
Right.
What's number 3?
Having multiple subscriptions and not knowing the total amount. I mean, it's funny to laugh at, but you start to think about all the different subscription services you have. I mean, we have Disney Plus, we have Hulu, we have Netflix, HBO Max.
Yep, Stars, Paramount Plus, Peacock Network.
We had the WWE Raw network for a minute too, and
so you could watch Roman Reigns.
Yes,
Big Dog.
I can't remember his name. Oh man, Jeff Hardy.
Jeff Hardy, okay.
Yeah.
So it's because they do add up. And so many people have been so excited because they dumped cable. And you're like, man, I dumped cable. I don't have to pay that anymore. And then you go, how much are you paying on your subscription services? And they're like, what? Your Netflix, your Hulu, your
YouTube TV. That's like $90 a month.
Yeah, all of it.
That
It's
is
like
ridiculous.
And then they add it up, and they're like, oh my God, I'm paying more than I was before. So really, really pay attention to that. Now, my kids would tell you, well, what you do is you get with this friend or this family member, but that's against the law, so don't do that.
He's winking. I don't know.
No. All right, number 4 is mine. Common pitfall: champagne and caviar taste on a beer and chip budget. Mocha latte, mochas, whatever they're called, and oat milk and avocado toast. Those are champagne and caviar taste. You want some toast, put it in the toaster, put a little bit of margarine on it. A little margarine on it.
Margarine.
If you got a little money in the budget, put a peanut butter on there and get yourself a glass of regular 2% milk. But no, that's really, and when we talk about champagne and caviar taste, it's not always about the food. It's about the things we do. Entertainment. It's about clothing. You guys have heard this one before probably. The biggest issue I had when my wife and I got married was we had not discussed the budget. She shopped all the time. And within a month and a half of being married, it hit the fan because this was the first time she was ever involved in paying rent or anything like that. And she was just like, what are you doing? Where's all the money? And I'm like, the money? What's going to rent? It's going to pay your car. You got a brand new Jeep. It's going to pay your car. Why can't I go shopping? We lived right across the street from Castleton Mall. And I'm like, oh my God. So, that's what I mean by that. It doesn't mean it's not really champagne and caviar, but the things you do, right? You got to learn to budget shop, right?
Right. We kind of touched on that earlier, too. We were talking about groceries and household and stuff, too.
Right. But don't buy the cheap toilet paper.
No, don't do that. Why would you do that?
That was available back during the COVID, okay?
You need to drive a few more miles and go get the good stuff.
Okay. And what's number 5?
And not focusing on paying down your debt kind of goes back to the education loan that I mentioned earlier. Just making sure that you're making more than the minimum. Because if you don't pay more than the minimum, you're never going to get
You're going to pay on it forever. And if you actually go to a calculator, go to one of our calculators online on our Bonsai Education, and you put in what you're paying, it's going to show you, if you have the interest rate, how much interest you're going to pay on it. And a lot of people don't do that because if you did, you'd be shocked. So, So, hey, moving out, being an adult, sounds like a lot of fun. It is a lot of fun. But it's a lot of work too. So make sure you're out there and asking the right questions. And, mom and dad really aren't as annoying as you think they are when it comes to such things.
Turns out they're not.
They sort of know what they're doing because they've already done this, right?
Yeah.
So with that, thanks for listening today.
Carpe Dime is presented by Financial Center First Credit Union. It's produced by Jamie Davidson, Nicole Jackson, and Randall Cork.
Financial Center is an 8-time national award winner in the category of adult financial literacy, and our goal is helping you improve your financial life. To learn more, visit fcfcu.com. Like what you hear, subscribe at Google, iTunes, SoundCloud, and Spotify. Thanks for listening, everyone.
Bye.